Hello, and welcome to our channel. My channel. This is my channel, not your channel.
Your mouth is very large.
I'm on the joy expression.
Don't. Kidding. How's it going right now?
Hey, you know what? I can do something that you can't do.
Oh? You can lean out of frame.
I'm not constrained by boundaries.
You know what I can do? Fuck you.
Use any of the other fucking avatars you have. So this
is now a solo stream. I'm kidding.
So this is not a permanent change, but it was I was just talking to them on your stream. They've done a bazillion things for us. Cute Dark Arts. That's who it was. Cute Dark Arts made a VTuber avatar thingamajiggy for me. It's got jiggle physics, so if I do this, my boobs jiggle. So yeah, but I this is not going to be a permanent change. I'm not doing this every week, but I would feel bad that someone put effort into making like a 3D avatar thing for me and to just not even use it once. So here we are. Tonight's an avatar stream.
This is going to be one of those things now where people donate. If they donate $100 during a stream, it switches from a regular Rhino stream to a Rhino avatar stream.
Oh, that's a good idea. Every $100 I switch. So like if you like the avatar, you donate $100 to get the avatar, and then if somebody doesn't like the avatar, they donate $100 to switch back. That's a good idea.
Yep.
100 seems a bit steep. I don't usually get big enough audiences for that kind of cash flow. So maybe we'll make it like 20. Every 20 I switch.
Fernie in my chat just said, now we can confuse Matt Powell even more.
Yeah.
Dude, Matt Powell thinks I'm fucking trans. He had a whole video where he did that shit.
Yes, he's a fucking idiot. Olivia Williams.
He's gonna think you're trans.
Olivia Williams, my stream is calling you basic, so sorry about that. But welcome to... I should probably rename my membership tiers so that we don't call you basic. Olivia Williams, you basic. Welcome to membership.
But have you considered being a basic bitch?
I am a basic bitch.
I am too. It's fine.
Anyway, so yeah, we're here. We're queer. And I got lots of beer.
I mean, I have soda.
Well, I actually we had some water on the fridge floor, like on the bottom of the fridge, and we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And I think I might have just found it because I used one of the Brita pitchers. We used to have 2 Brita pitchers in the fridge because we have 5 kids and 2 of us, and we all drink water, so we're going through water like crazy. So we have 2 Brita pitchers, and this one seems to have a crack in it, so like the floor is getting wet. So I think that might be where the water came from.
Possibly. So at first when you said we had water at the bottom of the fridge, I was thinking like a water bottle. And my brain was just like, yes, delicious bottom of the fridge water.
Yeah, no, this is the not delicious bottom of the fridge water that has soaked up all the like chicken juices and everything on its way down.
But wait, that just means more flavor.
Salmonella tastes delicious.
It does, and then you'll never taste chicken the same ever again.
Okay, I don't know what's going on in the chat, but Drew Harrison says I have a shovel in a hole. Fun stuff. So, make of that what you will.
Man, we're gonna have to put a particular mansion in a hole.
Okay, so we've got 2 news stories we're going to cover today. I know normally we do 3, but all the news was super duper depressing. Like there was one that I considered covering that was like there's this Seventh-day Adventist school that had to pay. Like they settled out of court to for $100 million for victims of their abuse while they were operating as a school. And as I was reading through the article, it was like 90% of the article was just graphic descriptions of child abuse. I'm like, oh, it's great that they have to pay, but like that's like no, that's terrible. And I don't like I get it, the victims deserve to have light shown on the perpetrators of these things, but like I don't want to get into all the nitty-gritty details of child abuse. That's just painful.
Yeah, I had a similar thing with my chat the other day when we somebody posted a picture on Imager that was the names of a lot of people who were connected to Trump and had gotten arrested on like child abuse charges or child trafficking charges. And so I pulled up articles for every single one of them and went through them all one by one.
Ouch.
And some of them were that they captured the things they said in private Discord chats. Those were not things that human beings should say.
Probably not, no. And
Ever.
These are people that Trump associates with closely?
It was a combination of people who either campaigned for him, worked on his ad campaigns, or associated with him closely. It was a combination of everybody. Yeah. So anybody who had some connection to, or a lot of people who had some connection to Trump, either during his 2016 campaign or had been part of his cabinet or, take your pick, somebody from that rung.
Someone has pointed out in the chat that my avatar seems to be lip syncing with yours.
Let's try a thing. Yes, it is actually.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought that it did the lip thing by camera, not by microphone. So
it will grab it from both if you tell it to.
Okay. Let's see if I can change that.
Tasha points out there's a toggle for it in VC Face.
Oh, look, you can see all my settings. General settings? I don't know what any of this is.
Turn off hybrid lip sync.
Boop. Boop.
All right, now let's see if it's still... No, wow, that's still doing it.
It's still going. Okay, whatever. You guys can tolerate it. It doesn't matter.
It's fine.
Okay, article time. If corporations bore the true cost of their emissions, they'd owe trillions. There's also a cum joke in there because, emissions. They're raping the earth and they need to pay for their emissions.
But wait a minute. Hold on. They wouldn't owe... They owe trillions because they can only get rid of millions at a time. It's not my fault that corporations have a low sperm count.
Here's the thing. I have been saying this for ages. And it's that if companies were not allowed to externalize the costs associated with their polluting, then they would stop polluting. because pollution is so damn expensive to deal with. And if you let them externalize their costs and not pay for the harm that their pollution causes, like if you, like whatever pollution you put out in the environment, if you have to pay to clean that up, then suddenly there's a financial incentive to not pollute or to clean it up at like most efficiently.
It's kind of funny. I just today I started getting a lot of recommendations for Captain Planet clips in my YouTube algorithm, and I don't know why. I think it predicted this. It 100% predicted this, because there are just characters in that show that are just like corporate pollutants. That's just all they are.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically there was, and this is something that I've been saying for ages now, but this is a recent study that was published in Science that actually analyzed 15,000 publicly traded companies to calculate how much each ton of carbon emissions end up costing. Or like they figure out how much each ton of carbon emissions costs society, and then analyzed these 15,000 publicly traded companies, figured out how much they're polluting and like how much they would have to pay. And yeah, it doesn't look good. And basically, like it, this doesn't even include downstream carbon. So, like, if you manufacture cars, this is just the pollution from manufacturing the car. This doesn't include
the actual pollution,
the running of the car.
So, like, if you had a company that was manufacturing, aerosol cans, this wouldn't take into account the stripping of the ozone that those used to do very easily.
Well, so this is only measuring carbon, so it wouldn't have measured CFCs. But if that was included in this, I would think that it would, because the CFCs are actually in the can when you buy it, whereas the car that's burning gas, that's like you know,
it's getting gas as it's going.
Yeah, but
this would also mean that it's only calculating. Would this mean it's also only calculating the expenditure for transporting the gas to various to like Exxon Mobil's and stuff like that, and not actually calculating the gas that's being spent after the fact? It's just counting transportation costs as well,
I guess. But the main takeaway that I have here is the cost of damage surpassed profits for highly polluting industries, including energy, utilities, transportation, and materials manufacturing. So this is where, like, if you make them pay for that, then suddenly solar power looks a lot better. And suddenly there's research and development going into green concrete development and stuff like that. Because there are a lot of these industries where, like, we have green technologies that are scalable and could be used, but they're slightly more expensive. And so companies, because they don't have to pay the price of the pollution that they're doing, they just say, fuck it, I'm not investing that extra money into this thing that is going to cost me more. I can make more money if I pollute more. Whereas, like, and so I'm not going to go into detail in this whole article thing, but like basically my position is that we should find a way to make sure that companies have to pay for the carbon that they produce, and they are not allowed to hike prices to pass that payment on to consumers.
Or they do what Tesla does, where it basically sells their carbon credits to consumers.
Yeah. Carbon credits sometimes could be okay, but the thing is, it wouldn't be as easy to get carbon credits anymore under this system, I think, if you actually consider the impact of the carbon, not just, hey, that company made one less unit of carbon than I did, so I can buy that extra unit that they have. Like, it should actually be like this is how much it would take to deal with that unit of carbon in the atmosphere, whether it be by removing it or paying for it. Like, because I'm actually interested. I haven't read the study. I intended on reading the study, but I never got around to it today. But I'm not sure if that includes stuff like healthcare costs associated with pollution, because
that would probably be considered downstream, though.
It probably would, because if you consider healthcare costs. This is a fairly old study fairly old, it's like 2017 or something. But if you include healthcare costs in that, like, going completely green makes perfect economic sense just from looking at the healthcare costs of pollution.
Because it costs less at that point.
Yeah, because like the world economy loses billions to trillions of dollars in productivity from people getting sick and having to go to the hospital from pollution related stuff. So like if as long as companies are allowed to externalize these costs, like they don't have to pay the healthcare of the people whose lungs they're poisoning, they just have to buy the carbon credits, then it's going to be cheaper for them to pollute and continue to pollute. So if you stop allowing them to externalize the costs, then suddenly it is now perfectly economically feasible. Like, and this is the capitalistic solution to climate change. Because like capitalism, like one of the things that always gets kind of lost in the discourse of like capitalism versus socialism is that nobody is advocating for a pure system of like pure capitalism or pure socialism. It's always a blend. And the thing about capitalism is like we always accept a certain degree of regulation. Like when I buy a drug that is FDA approved for something, well, I mean, I'm in Canada, so we have the Canadian version of the FDA, but like when I buy a drug that has like same idea, if I buy a drug that's been approved by the Canadian FDA thing, I don't even know what it's called. That typical Canadian. I know more about American politics than Canadian. But
I mean, to be fair, American politics kind of shit upstream to you guys.
They do, yeah. But yeah, so if I buy something that's been approved by the FDA, I can like basically assume a certain level of like whatever the FDA has approved it for, that this is what is good for. Like we accept that regulation. So like if you want to keep the capitalist system, which like we live in a capitalist hellscape, what's going on with your background, man? Like
I just swapped it to green real quick to see if you had green screen turned on, just to see if it was there.
I haven't changed anything, so
it was just for giggles.
Okay. But yeah, so like forcing companies to pay their externalized costs that they are causing other people to incur, that's the capitalist solution to climate change. It makes polluting more expensive.
This so tangential to this works the same way as the increased taxation on corporations that we used to do in America. Like this is a thing we used to basically do. Because what we found is that when we increased taxation, at the very least, we increased that cost onto corporations, they had to give more things like, you know, easier access healthcare benefits. They had to have more pay for their employees because that allowed them to offset those taxation costs by being able to sink that money that would have otherwise just disappeared into taxes. Because, I mean, if you're a company and you've got a choice between paying $40,000 a year in taxes or hiring another employee to make your company that much more efficient, and you make the same amount of money either way, it's better for your company to do the thing that lowers its costs, which ends up being better for the workers as well. But then we lower taxes on companies and they don't have to do that anymore. Like this is in line with previous things we've done in America that have worked, and Republicans and libertarians freak out about and get angry about.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is like we're going to get to it with the tweets, but like the Republicans are all about like, oh, let's deregulate everything. We're the party of small government. The government shouldn't be involved in everything, or like, you know, government shouldn't hinder corporations from doing what they want to do because, you know, the profitability thing, like people will learn that pollution is bad, so it'll be more profitable to not pollute because then people, like, never mind that companies can just lie about shit and people will believe them sometimes or whatever.
The market, the market is a manipulatable mechanism.
These same people though will then turn around and be like, hey, you're not allowed to have sex with people that have the same bits as you, or at least you're not allowed to get married to them. Or like, hey, even though your therapist and your doctor both agree that you should have your boobs chopped off, we don't think you should have your boobs chopped off because we like looking at your boobs.
And
that will segue us nicely to our next topic. Gender-affirming mastectomies have an overwhelmingly low regret rate. This is a new study that just came out in August, in the August issue of the, what's it called? Journal of Surgery, something like that. I don't know. It's a very prestigious journal. I have, so if you go to, research.vicerhino.com. You get my list of trans-related research, and there is a whole section on regret after gender-affirming care. And all of the studies have been done in kind of a post hoc nature, and like the methodology hasn't been the greatest. It's been pretty solid, but like there are better ways to do this sort of thing. It's just that like it's been studied for so short a period of time that like we haven't collected the data. However, the preliminary data that we do have, which, you know, the methodology isn't the most ideal one. It's good methodology, but like we have like what they have collected has involved sample sizes of like thousands of people. So like these aren't small sample sizes. This one, however,
it's a properly quantitative study.
Yeah, so this is a new study that's used more rigorous methodology. The sample size was fairly low because they were working with patients at one specific practice. So they said in the study they want to see more research done with the same methodology, like under multi-practice, like seeing patients from like multiple different practices rather than just one practice. But like using the much more rigorous methodology, they've basically confirmed that gender-affirming care has essentially no regret.
A statistically insignificant amount of regret would probably be the best way to put it then, wouldn't it?
It would, but I feel like that kind of minimizes the people that do have regrets and turns them into like, oh, you're statistically insignificant. Because like I do want to like point out that like, yeah, no, it's if you got gender affirming care and you do regret it, your feelings are valid. That's fine. Like, don't use that to attack other people who choose to get gender affirming care. But like,
don't do a Lori Alexander. Yeah. I think abortion should be bad because I would have had a fifth kid, maybe.
Yeah. But anyway, so gender-affirming care continues to be proven to provide a high level of satisfaction, incredibly low levels of regret. This study looked at people who had gender-affirming mastectomies from 1990 to 2020, so this is very long-term. I think the average number of years since their procedure was like 3 point something, so it was like most of them were fairly recent, but like some of them went back to 1990. So it's a fairly small sample size. There's 139 respondents, which like that's not insignificant, but it is relatively small. So there are 235 people who were eligible and 139 actually responded to the study. And I love the gender affirming language that they use in this article. They say most of the people surveyed who underwent the procedures are men. So like these are trans men. They didn't. Yeah. They didn't feel the need to specify. They're just like, they were men that had their breasts removed.
Which also, it helps as well, specifically when you do that, though, because it means that nobody can sit there and go, okay, well, what about trans women who get breast implants? Like, well, that's not what the study's covering. Like, the language makes it very, very clear. This is what this is covering. Nothing is outside of like, other things are outside the scope of it. We're just focusing on trans men who did this. So people who freak out about like, because have you seen any of the like regret comics that get put up by various right-wing posters?
Stone Toss
would be one of them. He's the immediate one that comes to mind. There's also that guy that draws in like, you know, that like SpongeBob hyper-realism style. I don't remember what the guy's name is, but he draws exclusively in that style, and they'll draw like stuff that tries to poke fun at scars and stuff like that. But this shows that it doesn't matter. The regret rate's just not there.
Yeah. So yeah, most of the people are men. They also had 17 non-binary individuals and 34 gender non-conforming individuals. And said while there were some dominant identities in the sample, there were a lot of variations in terms of experience with and after the surgery. So like this included people who had complications with the surgery, people who needed follow-up surgery to fix things that went wrong. So like this isn't just like, they didn't just like cherry pick people for whom everything went swimmingly.
Yeah, because there was a doctor who was found to have not gone through, I don't remember who it was, but there was a person on Twitter who had posted multiple times about like the ways that their top surgery had gone wrong, and infection had gone in and had started spreading, and their doctor kept on going like, "Hey, it's okay. There's nothing really wrong." They had to go to another doctor that said, "No, something's been wrong. Your doctor neglected to do certain things." I don't remember the names of the people involved. I wish I did here. If somebody remembers that post in my chat, if you can throw it at me. But so this is taking into account situations like that where the person, things went wrong, and yet they still are like, no, yeah, this is still what I wanted.
Yeah. So in this one, they actually use two different surveys, which like, now when I say survey here, I'm not talking about like just some people threw together a questionnaire being like, hey, do you regret it? And then they said no. These are like actual like diagnostic survey type things to assess the level of regret and the level of satisfaction. So like these methodological surveys that have been validated to actually provide accurate information. So this is what I mean, where it's more... like this is a more rigorous study, because like before, like in other studies, it's just been like, okay, well, your practice has performed this many gender affirming cares. How many of those patients have contacted you to say we'd like to have the surgery reversed? And like it doesn't actually talk to the person who had the surgery themselves. It's just like, did anyone contact you to ask for surgery reversals? And like that could miss people that go to a different practice for surgery reversal. It could miss people that feel regret but don't actually request a reversal. And like these are the kind of problems that have happened with these regret surveys up until now. So these guys actually went to the people themselves and sent them like scientifically verified surveys that are like they've been verified to be accurate at assessing levels of regret and satisfaction. And so on a 5-point scale, the average satisfaction was 4.8 and the median value was 5 out of 5.
Which is just a 5 out of 5 at that point.
Yeah. Like when your median is a perfect score, that's pretty damn good. The regret scale was a 100-point scale, and the average score, the mean score, was 4.2, and the median was 0. So when you look at median scores, everybody's satisfied, nobody has regrets. When you look at average scores, the vast majority are satisfied, and the vast majority have 0 regrets.
So this is one of those things that I like us having access to it, because one of the main ways that we see Republican-esque people, not necessarily people who would say, no, I'm a staunch voting Republican, I agree with everything they say, but the people who just have some concerns, they do what we'd like to call concern trolling on the internet.
I already got one of those. I posted this thing on Twitter and someone immediately followed up with like, okay, but like, how do you evaluate whether people are having... you know, whether it's a sunk cost fallacy, whether they just are saying they don't have regrets.
Okay, so if they want us to, they're basically asking us to mind probe every person and read their thoughts and feelings.
No, but that's the thing though, is that the like I don't know the questions on this survey, but what I do know is that this is a methodologically verified survey that is generally accepted for the purposes of determining surgical regret and shit like that. So it's like, I assume that the researchers are aware of the sunk cost phenomenon. So like, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that Twitter person is the first person ever to think that maybe someone is engaging in the sunk cost fallacy. But like, I'm pretty sure the researchers are aware of it.
Yeah. No, the reason that I'm happy that we have something like this though is because this is the exact thing that you can. This is a very, very nuanced and philosophical position, I know, but this is one of those things that you can shove into somebody who's concerned trolling's face and go neener.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just me being a very mature and pragmatically minded individual.
Also, of the people who experienced regret, there were still no individuals who underwent reversal procedures. Neuramda is saying, at that point, I wonder what the average non-zero and non-5 scores were. I'm curious about that myself. Now, I tried looking this up on Sci-Hub. It's new enough that it's not available there yet. I'm sure it'll be there fairly soon. So I will check back to you when I've actually read the study itself. It was like, I haven't read the study yet. I'm just reading the reporting on it, and I heard Skeptic's Guide cover it a couple weeks ago. Actually, no, okay, that's a lie. Their podcast from a couple weeks ago covered it. I just heard it 5 minutes before the stream. Because, like, I was desperately searching for something that wasn't depressing. I'm like, yeah, trans people, go trans people, they don't regret. But these results are consistent with previous ad hoc studies and affirm overwhelmingly low levels of regret following gender-affirming surgery. It also challenges the notion claimed without, like, people that suggest that people regret trans surgery. They claim that without scientific evidence. They'll say that, like, oh, well, people regret gender-affirming procedures that, you know, it might take years to manifest. So, like, you can't just survey them right after they get the procedure. And we're like, okay, well, some of these
everybody
people...
from multiple walks of life were surveyed over the course of 30 years.
Yeah, well, that in this one, yes. Well, I mean, in others, too. This isn't the first one to cover that kind of time span, but, like, to have it covered again is great. And they actually compared their work with 44 other studies focusing on surgery regrets unrelated to gender-affirming care. So things like... This article doesn't cover it, but one of the things that was mentioned on Skeptic's Guide was mastectomies due to breast cancer have a higher regret rate than mastectomies due to gender-affirming care.
Well, that's because a lot of people who had to, like, if they had to get mastectomies due to breast cancer, they probably wanted to keep their chest, but they had to get rid of it for survival. Whereas
absolutely,
most people who I know who are trans and want their breasts removed are just like, yeah, no, fuck it, yeet it and give it to somebody who cares.
Yeah,
give it to somebody who wants it.
When I heard of, like, when I read the bit at the beginning about non-binary and gender non-conforming individuals, my first thought was V. LaBianca, who they're on Twitter, and they have been very public about their seeking of gender-affirming care. They got a hysterectomy. They had, I believe they had a mastectomy, and they had people constantly telling them, like, oh no, you'll regret it, you shouldn't do this. It's like, no, they are living their best life over there.
No, that's typically how it goes, though. Like, this is why I pointed out that these people want us to have some technology that allows us to read people's minds, basically. They want to be able to go, okay, I know you're saying that, but if I guarantee you, if I read your brain, you regret it. I know deep down you have to. It can't possibly be that you're happy with this surgery that removed a thing. And you, meanwhile, I'm sitting here, a survivor of appendicitis. Like, yeah, sometimes it's fine to get things cut out of you that just do nothing good for you.
Well, here's the thing. With the 44 other studies focusing on surgical interventions that had nothing to do with gender-affirming care, there was only one single study with one particular surgery that had a lower regret rate, and it was for treating urinary incontinence. That's the only surgery that exists that has a lower regret rate than gender-affirming care, or gender-affirming mastectomy specifically.
God, imagine that. The only people who are happier about their surgeries are people who really, really needed to pee.
Yeah, like for instance, 18% of those who underwent knee replacement surgery experienced regret. But you don't find legislators saying, hey, we need to stop knee replacement surgeries because of how many people regret getting them.
So I actually had this argument with a friend of mine a few months back. And when we had this argument, I brought up the knee replacement surgery thing, and the only defense they had was, yeah, but that's different.
So Heidi, my partner, says, I want that one. And the fun thing here is now, because of the stream delay, I have to guess whether she is talking about knee replacement or urinary incontinence or the hysterectomy. And I know it could be any of those three. I'm sorry if I just gave too much information, Heidi.
It's,
She is very open about this sort of thing, so I'm not really worried about her being like, no, you shouldn't have said that. But at the same time, I might have not been supposed to say that.
I think
Oh.
I think not
She says all.
all.
All of the
So
above.
I think it's funnier not knowing which one it is, and then just with the concept. No, I want all of that.
Well, I mean,
Every
okay.
single ounce.
Okay. People who have been pregnant in the chat probably know, like, after you've been pregnant, you just, like, you know that sometimes when I sneeze, I will pee myself. At least a little bit. Like, that's just a thing that happens to people after they've been pregnant.
So, because of the way you worded that, Rhino, I hope you know there's going to be some weird fan art.
Oh, God.
Because you just said people who know when they're pregnant, sometimes when I sneeze,
Oh.
I pee myself. I didn't realize that Vice Rhino Impreg was going to come up during the stream, but apparently it did. So, you know, what? Here we are.
Okay, well, whatever. Have at it. I have a fan art section. I got chastised by my own moderators in the Discord because I posted a link to some fan art, and it was NSFW, and they were like, Rhino, I know there are some minors in your channel. You can't just post that. I'm like, sorry. Okay, I'll delete it.
Gainer in my chat just going, banned all of you, banned to the last.
Anyway, so one of the things about this study is that, like, one of the goals that the study authors had was they wanted to do a deeper study on the reason people regret, because in the past, what's come up is that the reason people regret, like, the reason trans people regret surgery overwhelmingly is because of social factors. They start the transition thing, and then their family are like, oh, I wish you were just the girl I was born with, or the boy I was born with, or whatever. Like, I wish you were just the gender that you were at birth. And they are so pressured into it that it becomes easier for them to then conform to the gender they were assigned at birth rather than being true to themselves. And that is the single largest factor in regret in these instances. So they wanted to study that and see how valid that was, because, again, these previous studies don't have the best methodology. So they wanted to see what was going on there. But what they found was that so few people had any regrets about it that there weren't enough people with regrets to do any valid statistical analysis. Like, they just didn't have enough data.
And it's interesting that that's the case, though, because if you hear it from right-wing Republicans, we need to be listening to the voices of the detransitioners, the horror stories of what they went through. We need there to be tales so that people know not to do this horrible thing to their body. I made a point in a previous video that this is all you need to do, because human beings are not generally data minded. We rely on type 1 thinking more often than most of us know. But all the right wing needs to do to make it seem like there's a shit ton of people detransitioning is to have 10. If they have 10 people, and they do, who are detransitioned, who, you know, they've got Chloe, they've got that one dude who wrote a book on it and campaigns about it all the time. They've got at least 10 people, easy. All they need to do is cycle those people through the news. That's enough. That's enough to have a new person on the news every week for 2 months on various channels and cycle through until people have basically forgotten the faces, to make it seem like there is a stream, constant stream of detransitioners who are just trying to get their words heard.
Sorry, I'm nodding along with you, but I just noticed that when I nod, it looks like I'm just trying to jiggle my boobs. So nod, jiggle boobs, jiggle boobs. Okay,
so are we saying that Rhino has a 100% happiness rate with his new boobs he's gotten?
Okay, so I feel a little bit bad about this, but the very first thing I did with this avatar is, like, I opened up the program that you're supposed to use, like the one that I'm using to put it in OBS or whatever, and I accidentally found the controls for moving the light source, and Like, I don't know, it's just like, it seemed like that should be the control for moving the avatar around, but it was just moving the light source around. And so the first thing I discovered is that when you move the light source around, it looks like I could show you the shorts that are on, like this avatar is a full body thing. It's got shorts and legs and everything.
Yeah.
But when you move the light source, the shadows make it look like it's just getting wet starting in the crotch and just working its way up. So it's like the avatar peed itself. So like the first thing I did with this avatar was like, oh no, I peed myself. And so, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But like the second thing I did with it was like, jiggle physics, look at my boobs.
Jesus Christ. The corruption is spreading.
Anyway, medical professionals should work to identify vulnerabilities associated with social determinants of health rather than deny medical care over exaggerated claims regarding the possibility of procedural regret. Absolutely, 100%.
Wait, exaggerated claims about procedural regret. Wait, are they even? So wait, we don't even have data that there are people who are exaggerating their claims about regret on detransition. We don't have that data yet.
There's not enough of them.
Huh. Wow. Wouldn't you know?
All right.
Wouldn't you know?
Shall we do some tweets?
I guess we don't have much of a choice, right?
We got some bangers in here. And I think, Trump's mugshot came out after we streamed last week. So we got some mugshot tweets in here.
And my favorite Trump mugshot tweet is one that makes it look like he's printed out on a Game Boy Color printer.
Does it make it look like that, or did somebody actually print him out on a Game Boy printer?
It's just a filter that makes it look like that.
All right. So we start off with Dan Henschel. Says, hard to enjoy Pumpkin Spice Day when this is the reception I get. Don't want anyone to get in trouble, but sad to see. And he's holding up his Starbucks cup that says God's not real on it while he's wearing his pastor's collar.
That looks like how much you want to bet he just scribbled that on there himself?
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say, is because, like, I can't see anyone risking their minimum wage job that, like, you don't work at Starbucks unless you need the money. And I don't see anyone risking that job for the sake of getting jabs in at a priest.
Yeah.
And like realistically, if you're that mad at the priest or whatever, like, go whole hog, man. Like, stop fucking kids would be what I would write if I was gonna say something about a priest on a cup.
Your tithes fund sexual predators, shit like that.
Yeah, Stratahawk says like he didn't write that on himself. Yeah, no, I believe he did.
Alpha Mario says, did you say priest?
Lord of Uzkalek was gifted a membership by Nuramdaput Saul. Thank you, Nuramdaputs. Thank you, Lord of Uzkalek.
Alpha, no. No. People are trying to bring up... So you saw that I was playing WoW Hardcore earlier.
Well, I didn't know what it was, but it wasn't the pizza rat thing, so...
Okay, well, I beat that game a couple days ago. So it was World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, which is World of Warcraft as it was made in 2005. But if you die, your character's deleted. Like, you have one life, and that's it.
Okay.
So a couple nights ago on stream, my first character that I made that chat voted on for me to make died while I was in the middle of recording a topic. And I literally cut off the topic at the end of dying, and I died not because of a mistake I made, but because some dumb priest went into a group of Murlocs, grabbed them all, and then charged at me. And the Murlocs decided I was a better target to kill than him.
Oh, what was that World of Warcraft meme? That
Leroy
happened?
Jenkins?
Yeah, Leroy Jenkins!
Yeah, it was basically that. And I was trying to go over the Keffels debate with the dude who thinks that human slaves are a good thing, and I couldn't anymore because
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about slaves, not my video for this Friday, but the one that I'm currently working on for next Friday, It's a response to Brian Holdsworth and his question that atheists can't answer. His question that atheists can't answer. I'm going to ask you this question. Cirrus, is slavery wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, atheists can answer that question.
See what's funny?
But no,
so I have that video queued up for me to do a response to as well. So don't spoil too much.
Oh, it gets bad.
It gets bad. There's only 10 minutes of video.
Can I spoil the ending for you? Okay. No.
Fine. Spoil the ending for me.
So I normally don't watch my videos more than like the first 2 minutes in, like just to see, just far enough to see if it's a good response. And then I will type my natural response to whatever they say. I find that my videos are best that way because you get my just my default response. You don't get my pre-thought out, like, oh, I'm arranging everything. And like, you know, some people are good at that. I'm not good at that. I'm not Apologia. I can't like pick out the different segments of the video and like organize someone else's video based on topic when they're not organized. Like, I don't do that. I just respond to it as I go, and you get my default reaction. And if I get something wrong early in the video, I might correct it later in the video. That happens a lot. But in this video, I watched like 10 minutes of it. It's an 11 minute and like 30-second or something video. So like I watched like the 10 minutes of it. And I'm like, yeah, no, I could do a response to this or whatever. And most of it is just like fighting over definitions, but like it's kind of a fun fight because he's just so stupid with it. Because like he says, you can't use synonyms to define anything, but if you define synonym, it's a word or phrase that means the same or similar to something else. So that's literally every definition is a synonym. So you can't define anything without using synonyms.
Because that's how we describe human beings describe things by comparison.
But then he makes it even worse by like being like, oh, well, atheists define morality with this, and they're just trying to use like this as a synonym for that. And then he follows it up with, but that's not even a synonym for it. Like, okay, but you said you shouldn't define definitions with synonyms, and now you're saying that's not a synonym, so what's wrong with the definition? But that's not where it gets bad. That's not where it gets bad.
Oh?
In the last like minute of the video, he just takes a complete fucking left turn and he's like, some races are better than others, and if you're not Christian, you're going to use that to justify slavery.
Wait.
He doesn't say that the races aren't better than others because we're all made in the image of God. He says some races are better than others, and if you're not Christian, that will be your justification for slavery.
This dude has like 110,000 subscribers, doesn't he?
Something like that, yeah. Nobody. Oh, it's so bad. I did not see that coming. Like,
I'm gonna have to mention that you spoiled it in the video that I do. But
I'm so sorry for spoiling it, but
it's
like
okay.
it's just so fucking bonkers to me. I can't not discuss it.
Oh my god, this is the problem with entertainment being a community thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have to know, but now we do. The forbidden knowledge is ever.
Yeah,
God.
So like the whole time you're scripting your response to that video, you're gonna know it's coming. Or I don't know if you still do scripted stuff, or do you just do it off the cuff?
I do it all live on the channel. So
you'll know that it's coming now. So
I'll know it's coming.
I'm sorry for spoiling his M. Night Shyamalan style twist.
It's entirely okay. I will. Oh boy. You know, I think I only scripted during the first year my channel was a thing. I think I stopped after the first year. You
stopped as soon as someone gave you boobs.
I had my avatar as it was for 3 years without boobs. It has been 2 years with boobs. Wait.
Hey, wait. If I have boobs now, does that mean I'm not going to be scripting anymore?
Yes. You get to do things entirely off the cuff. You get to cut your workload in half. But you're also going to subsequently be more angry in video responses because your own filter's not going to work anymore.
Yeah, no, because there's definitely a difference between seeing something live and being like, what the fuck? And writing in the what the fuck and trying to recreate that.
Yeah, I think it was Prophet of Zod who said it best the first time I went on an actual stream as opposed to doing my scripted content. Because Zod was the first person I ever did a collaboration with. He said, wow, you're a lot more unhinged on camera. And I think that's only gotten worse.
Yeah. Neuromptoput says, "Good grief! Someone was never told about all the Christian slavers." Yeah, no, no, I'm not going to spoil that one for you. I'll let you deal with that one
Yeah, it's
live.
I
But
would.
like, there's some shit that like,
I
just
definitely want my response to
just
be organic and mine, and not like
just keep it
from yours.
Just keep it in the forefront of your thoughts that he says he's not going to define, like, before he goes on a definition spree of like nitpicking definitions, he starts that off by saying, "Oh, I'm not going to give a definition of slavery because we all know what slavery is." Keep that in the forefront of your mind because that is relevant.
I remember arguing with a coworker about the definition of slavery back when I was working at Aldi, where he was a Calvinist who was evangelizing in the middle of work, like while we were on the clock, and he would do it constantly. So I just got into fights with them on the clock because fuck it, why not?
Yeah,
And
I've done stuff like that before.
And I remember us having an argument, and I pointed out, Jesus never said anything bad about slavery. In fact, he even argued that slaves should obey your masters, especially if they're cruel, so long as they're Christian.
No, that wasn't Jesus.
Paul.
That was in
Paul,
no. Obey them even though they're cruel was in First Peter. Paul said obey your earthly master several times. Jesus didn't really say much about slavery, except when he was using it in parables where God was the good slave master.
That makes it just as bad.
Yeah.
That makes it just as bad. But when we had that argument, he acquiesced while we were on the clock and our manager was watching, but then sent me a text message later through our work group chat saying like, "Hey, by the way, I was actually right because the word slave in this particular one actually just means servant." And I'm like, indentured servitude is still slavery. You can't just kick the can and go, "I'm right."
Okay, spoilers again. Serfdom is slavery. Next tweet. Okay, let me make it a little bigger. Now that we don't have a picture to deal with. Jeff Wright says, "Imagine being more worried about Christian nationalism, while being unable to define it, than secular tyranny, and never ever speaking a word about the currently existing tyranny, just virtue signaling about hypothetical Christian nationalism."
You mean like hypothetical secular tyranny?
Like, is Christian nationalism hypothetical if the Supreme Court of the United States is like almost basically openly Christian nationalists?
Is it hypothetical Christian nationalism if multiple notable politicians are going up and defending the use of Christian nationalism as a descriptor for themselves, saying that other colleagues of theirs should not be ashamed of that title, that moniker? Marjorie Taylor Greene has done that. Multiple ones in Texas have done that. But it's all hypothetical, right?
But a lot of people can't give an adequate definition off the top of their heads. Therefore, it's not actually something you'd need to be worried about.
This is what happens when people's understanding of other people's understanding of things comes entirely from these libs can't answer these basic questions, man on the street internet interview videos.
Yeah. Actually, there's
a part of my history teachers used to play those videos to show that Obama was a terrible presidential candidate.
There's a part of me that wants to go to, like, when Trump goes on trial on, I think it's March 4th or whatever, the day before Super Tuesday, there's a part of me that wants to like go to Fulton County or wherever he's going to be on trial for that one and like interview the MAGA people that are going to be there protesting the trial and just like do a man on the street style thing and edit a funny video out of their stupid responses.
Hey, Rhino.
But that sounds like a lot of effort and money that I don't have to spend.
Would it really be that much money? Because well,
I'd have to get there.
Well, yeah, you'd have to get there, but you wouldn't have to worry about hotel expenses.
Why not?
I live 30 minutes out of Fulton County.
Oh, okay. Is Fulton County the one that's going to be on March 4th, or has the trial been set for that one?
Let's take a quick look.
You know what? I think we actually have a tweet about that in the queue.
Judge sets March 4th as Trump's trial date in election interference case, but it doesn't say where that's going to be held offhand. Let me see.
Is Fulton Fulton County is the well, yeah, okay, no, there's more. So, fun fact: if you go to Wikipedia and you search "trial of Donald Trump," it takes you to a disambiguation page because there's so many different things it could refer to.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody in my chat here, let figure out when he's getting tried near me, and we can see what we can work out. Maybe.
Strata Hawk says Vice Rhino's 5 kids going to crash on Sura's couch.
I don't think my couch is that big, but we'll try. Jeebus.
Like, I kind of want to do that, but I'm not sure if I actually want to do that.
Oh boy, Sorbs.
K Sorbs. Oh, he's off screen. He's off screen a little bit.
That makes it better.
But I picked this one mainly because of that picture. It's like, he thinks that he's still a 1990s K Sorbs, but he's not. He's just an old man. Holding your arm like that does not make you look good.
No, it really doesn't, especially if you're wearing very loosely fit flannel.
Yeah, like, maybe he's still got muscles. Like, he was fit back in the day. I don't know if he's still fit. Probably not, because he's an old man now. But, like, if you're going to be showing your muscles, you got to, like, actually show muscles. You can't just, like, hold your arm up in a loose t-shirt. Well, button-down shirt. Anyway, he apparently wrote a kid's book on biblical masculinity.
Don't cut off your hair, kids. You might lose your strength and get crushed under a pillar and have to beg the daddy to get your magic powers back.
But he says, masculinity is under attack today. We need to teach our kids what biblical masculinity looks like. It doesn't look like that, Case Orbs.
No, it does. It definitely does.
That's why I wrote a kid's book titled The Test of Lionhood with Brave Books. You can get it for free while you subscribe to the Book of the Month Club, or when you subscribe to the Book of the Month Club.
What is the Book of the Month Club?
I don't know.
It's
a
Fox
Fox
News
thing.
Fox News Book of the Month. Okay, it's their way of selling propaganda to you. That's cool.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't subscribe to their Book of the Month Club, but I feel like I might want to buy that book just to make fun of it.
I mean, you've done similar in previous videos.
I currently have a stream series going where my partner and I go through a Christian marriage book and make fun of it. It's actually a lot of fun.
You should, Rhino, you should.
Pretty much every episode is the too much information stream. Like, you think I get personal with you on this stream? Like, no, we get way too personal on that stream.
I have to ask, have you introduced her to Larry Solomon yet?
I don't know who that is.
He runs the Biblical Gender Roles podcast and blog series.
Okay. Maybe not.
He's written things like why child marriage should be legal, how to groom your young wife, how to properly physically abuse her, the ways in which you're allowed to, like, just all kinds of disgusting shit can be found on his site. And
okay, I think I know the site.
Yeah, it's one that's been covered by Atheist side of YouTube quite a bit. I frequent his stuff about once a week because there's always guaranteed one more batshit nutty thing he has said that I know people who live in this area where I am would agree with.
So Monorail 425 says, did your partner enjoy those teachings? So we make fun of them quite a bit, but there was one that I forget what the context was. Sure. I forget what the context was, but like it was telling a story of like the husband and wife, they had a problem and they solved their problem or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Oh, everything was great at the end. But at one point in the story is like, I cupped my wife's face in my hands and I looked at her and I said, you love me. And it was just like, so completely out of left field. Like the appropriate thing to say in that moment would have been, I love you. I appreciate you. But it was like, no, you love me. And so now I've taken to doing that to her.
God, that sounds like insecurities.
Yeah, no, it's this whole thing is it's very reminiscent of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules book, where like the title of the chapter is good advice, but like anything he says in the chapter is actually really bad advice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that, where like it starts off with like a good principle, like, yeah, respect your husband, sure, everybody wants respect, but like also you got to earn respect. You can't just expect it. And like this was something along those lines. So, but like I've now taken to like every now and then I will like cup her hands or her face in my hands, and I'll be like, "You love me," and that's always good for a laugh. She always laughs when I do that. John73 John says, "Oop, my mouse is clicking in the wrong spot. Apparently, I can't bring it back up. Whatever." John says, "Sorba looks like he's trying to eat, but he dropped his fork in his lap." But yeah, and yeah, his book is the TV dinner that he's eating. Anyway, next Kevin Sorba.
More case orbs.
More case orbs. Yeah, so I have too many tweets tonight probably. Because like I had too many to begin with, and then I made the mistake of actually like clicking on Case Orb's profile and grabbed a couple more. So he says, Putin's political rival dies in a plane crash and everyone assumes Putin is responsible. Biden's political rival is charged with 90 plus crimes right before the election, and it's a conspiracy theory to believe it was political subterfuge.
So we know that one of these people has a tracked history of disappearing opponents.
Yeah, like poisoning people with plutonium or whatever. Polonium. I think it was polonium, actually.
And you know, God, I want to make a joke about, wait, I wasn't aware Biden was part of the Clinton family. I want to make that joke, but I know there's going to be
also like every time he's been indicted, it's been a grand jury. It has not been like a grand jury is just people. It's people in the states that got called for jury duty. That's not Biden. That's not Joe Biden. That's just people.
What Case Orbs think is going on. I think I know what he thinks is going on. I'm going to paint a picture for you, okay? Do you remember in season 1 of Trek Next Generation, Q's trial?
So the first episode?
It's Q's trial, but Biden is Q. That's what they think is happening. That's what they think this is. Biden's just sitting there going, look at all the things you've done. Look at all the things you've done, Trump. And Trump is just like in each and every one going, you don't understand. I did this to save America. What I did was right.
Yeah, probably. But like, yeah, no, Putin has has a track record of killing, like his opponents just disappear in suspicious circumstances all the time. But like a jury made up of American citizens said, hey, yeah, we think there's enough evidence to charge Trump with crimes. That's suddenly Biden exerting control over the DOJ.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh my
God.
God.
He thinks it's the Q trial.
The size of my tweets are all over the place. Okay, here we go. This is Lila Rose says, toxic femininity is all about me, rejects children, uses beauty to deceive and incite lust, sees men as enemies or conquests, puts other women down, weaponizes emotions. Some of that I can agree is toxic behavior, yes.
Yeah.
True femininity, though, is interdependence focused on love, embraces children. This is the main reason I picked this. She says, uses beauty to inspire and heal.
I'm going to go ahead and say right now, when my partner uses her beauty to incite lust, it inspires and heals me.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. Like, I've never, like, had a paper cut on my finger and then seen a tit and been like, that's a really nice tit. Oh, my paper cut's gone.
That's so, like, a skill issue. I'm sorry. That complete opposite for me. I can be hemorrhaging blood, and then I'm just like, oh God, nice knockers. And then just suddenly everything's aligned correctly. Everything's perfect.
So Adam Broughton says, I deal with conspiracy theorists like this at work among my friends. No escape from these people. I'm sorry, Adam.
And that's why you sent money to Vice Rhino to fund your perpetuity of never being able to escape it.
No, I feel like that's more of a commiseration thing. Stratahawk says, maybe you're not doing it right, Vice. Okay. You know what? If you can heal my paper cut with your tits, then I, like, okay, this is... I literally just finished a stream yesterday by accidentally soliciting tit pictures in my Discord. So I don't want to go down this road again. But if you think your tits can heal my paper cuts...
Look,
Go ahead and send them to me on Twitter or Discord.
Two things are going to happen because of this. Either your partner's going to get really creative with the word healing, or alternatively, fan artists are going to get really creative with the term healing.
If my partner is going to be really creative with the word healing, I'm just going to like all of a sudden like, oh, my crotch hurts. It needs some healing.
Now we are just in the beginning of a really bad porno.
Is it a really bad one or a really good one?
Good one? Or a really good one? I don't know. It's like okay, hold on. So we need to have a vote. I need to know in the comment section of Vice Rhino's stream and in the comment section of this video when it goes on my channel. Both. Is the porn better when the acting is worse, or is the better acting? Does that make for better porn?
So I'm just going to say I just hit the surprise button on my avatar's expression thing, and rather than looking like surprise, it looks like I'm ready for the cum shot. I'm ready for the cum daddy. Give me your seed.
Guys, clip that. Clip that. Clip this, please, on Twitch. I need this for personal reasons.
Hey, if nobody else does, I'm going to clip it. Michael Decino says I'm late. Here's the tip anyway. Thank you for giving me just the tip, Michael.
Sakura,
ready for the
please
tip.
clip that.
I'm ready for the tip. I'm having too much fun with this VTuber thing. It's a good thing this is temporary.
Yeah, it's definitely temporary. I thought the same thing. I did mine as a joke, Rhino. That was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago.
I'm sorry, but mine actually is a joke.
Uh-huh.
It's not a joke. The artist put effort into this. They put good effort into this, and I appreciate the effort. But I will be going back to using my face holes.
It was a collaborative.
Speaking of my face holes,
it was a collaborative effort between Pernia making the design on her posts originally and Stoff making the design of VTuber on their account. Because, and now people are telling Stoff to receive Christ in my chat.
Michael Decino says bad timing on my part, or the best timing.
Guys, let's not talk about receiving right now. Not now. Not with this.
I'm ready to receive.
God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are typing. No. They've all left the chat.
Lauren Bobert says, this is what I was referring to earlier. Giving the government more power is not a viable solution to anything, including, like, if you want to limit gay rights or whatever. It's not a solution to that. So
no, it's definitely a solution. It's definitely not going to lead to increased violence in the United States.
Yeah, and then she says, unfortunately, it seems to be the only solution that the left can think of, says the person who wants the government to literally intervene in people's bedrooms.
Yeah.
Like, how does the Republican Party still claim to be the party of small government? They want to be involved in so much personal shit that has nothing to do with anything government. But then they still turn around and be like, oh yeah, you shouldn't let the government have power.
There are things the government is not good at. It's true. The government's not good at wiping my ass, but they can be better at healthcare than private corps are. Oh, by the way, that's another thing. Before I forget about it, there's an entire section in that 900-page document that I sent you.
Oh, no.
About how to get rid of any possibility for the federal government to have any power when it comes to healthcare of any kind. There's a point in there directly about that.
Fuck their faces.
What would their faces look like when they're being fucked right now?
Okay, my camera's a little bit high compared to my face, so it sees me blinking more often than I do. So like it keeps on like having my eyes like mostly shut when they're not, which is making some of these expressions all the more funny.
Hold on, did this clip come through perfectly?
Oh, did somebody clip it already?
Hold on. Is it?
Yeah, Specist is in the chat
Yep,
saying
I've got
Project
it.
2025 is disturbing.
Yep.
Wait, send me the chat, maybe, or send me the clip.
Oh, I've got it here. Hold on, let me send it to you on Discord. Deep. There you go. There's the clip from Twitch.
Oh, you're making me open Discord.
Look, it just sits on my third monitor perpetually, whereas I have to mute WhatsApp.
Okay, well, you know what? Y'all just saw it on the stream. I'm not going to play it on the stream again.
No, but I will be throwing it into my editor and making this YouTube short.
Oh, yeah, I'll be making it short as well. You can count on that. Marmel says, when Trump gets to prison, I hope he gets a jumpsuit that fits a man who is 6'2" and weighs 215 pounds. I think it was 6'3", but like, I hope this too. That would be funny.
I don't want to see Trump in tights.
No, but I kind of do. I think it would be hilarious because he would hate it. But like,
Jesus Christ!
Like that's what he said he weighed. So here you go. Here's your jumpsuit.
Soph just said, "I don't need Jesus. I don't like twinks."
Because like I like think of myself and like I am 6'1", so Trump is supposedly 2 inches taller than me. I'm about 200 pounds, and I'm not a skinny guy. But like, if you like, I don't know, I would be significantly fatter if someone that looked like Trump was actually 215 pounds.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, no, this is not believable.
Oh, I have the best Trump mugshot pick. Damn. This was just sent to me by a viewer. It's amazing.
Okay, do I have to display this on stream?
You can. It's amazing. As a fan of Evangelion, I approve.
Oh, well, then I didn't get the reference because I haven't watched Evangelion.
So that's, well, when you show it on screen, that way the surprise doesn't get killed for people who are watching.
I'm working on it.
It's Gendo Trump.
Gendo Trump. Okay.
So in Evangelion, Gendo is I wouldn't say the main villain, but definitely one of the worst people in the entire show. He's a terrible person, a terrible father, and he actually ends up enacting the annihilation of all civilization while touching 15-year-old girls. He's a gross motherfucker. Yeah, okay. He's just Trump. Gendo's Trump.
Lord of Us Collect says, remember, muscle weighs more than fat, so maybe compared to Trump, you're just ripped, Vice. I'm not ripped. Maybe compared to Trump I am, but I'm not. Adam Broughton says, I'm 5'10" and 230, and I look way slimmer. Also, look at Donnie next to Justin Trudeau for the height thing. I don't know how tall Justin Trudeau is. Why would I do that?
Do I have the copy pasta still?
Oh, God. All right, next tweet. Dr. Michael Brown says, what do Alice Cooper, Carlos Santana, and evangelical preachers have in common? None of them are biologists, so that's just spoiler. That's something that they have in common. They affirm that men are men and women are women. What do you know?
Yeah, I affirm that men and women are women too. It's just
trans women are women.
Trans women are women, and trans men are men.
Set theory is hard.
God, found it. If we're talking about people's weights and heights and all that, I just remembered the Navy SEAL copy pasta. What the fuck did you just say to me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Navy SEALs and have numerous secret raids on Al Qaeda. I'm trained in guerrilla warfare. I'm a 6'3", 215 pounds, all muscle, 6% body fat. It's a fucking massive copy pasta.
My partner is trolling, saying she's a flat earther.
Earth Chan's not flat.
Why are you telling me you're a flat earther? Do we need to break up? Is this going to be the stream we break up on?
Her. She wants you to dunk on her.
Well, I'll dunk on her after stream, all right. Anyway, moving on to the next tweet. Oh my God, I have to.
There it is.
Oh, God, I have to adjust the size for like every single one of these fucking things.
Why
God
would you have
damn
to
it.
adjust the size for Trump? He's only 215 pounds.
Anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene says this is the photo that will win the 2024 presidential election for Biden. The American people will not stand for communism in America.
What does this photo have to do with communism?
Well, didn't you know communism is when you get your mugshot taken when you get arrested? That's what communism is.
Have you seen the Marjorie Taylor Greene mugshot?
Oh, yeah, it's her profile picture in this.
Oh yeah,
where she photoshopped herself as like having a mugshot, and she has like this stupid grin on her face.
I'm
match
so
Jenna
happy
Ellis.
to be in prison.
What's funny though is like she's been posting a lot of stuff about how like that prison is terrible or whatever, and it's like, okay, so are you in favor of prison reform? It's like, I'm good with that. There's been a lot of deaths. Law enforcement should absolutely stop killing people that are in their custody.
Now,
I'm okay with that.
There's been a lot of deaths in the Fulton County Prison. I did a video covering all of that, so I had to see some of the ways in which people had died in there, and it was kind of gruesome. So I get it.
Absolutely.
If we're in favor of prison reform, let's do that.
Yeah, go for it. I fully approve. Yeah, that can be bipartisan. Let's improve the prison system so that they're not violating human rights anymore.
Like,
sounds great. Abolish fucking slavery. How about that? We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, if the 13th Amendment did not properly abolish slavery, let's do it right the second time.
So there we go. We can do that bipartisan, right? Right? They're not going to try and sneak some partisan shit in under the radar on that one?
But we need the labor.
No, we don't. Fuck that. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. He also posted a picture of the mugshot. He says, does this look at all like a man who is intimidated? Is he trying to be Captain Kirk?
I was about to say, this is very Kirk.
Does this look at all like a man who is intimidated? Okay, because I'm using VTube Studio thingy, you can't see all the like facial expressions and hand gestures I was doing with that. But I assure you it was on point for a Kirk impression.
Do I need to get you a thing to track your hands?
Maybe. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why Peterson puts weird line breaks in his tweets. Like it's been suggested that he's using an accessibility thing to make the text really, really big, and he thinks that when he gets to the end of a line, he has to hit the return button. And I like that theory, but it doesn't really make sense based on how much text is on each line.
And it would be really weird for somebody like Jordan Peterson to use an accessibility feature.
Does he think that he's like a modern E.E. Cummings and this is artistic? Like, what is going through his head when he hits enter in these tweets? Because like he does it at weird spots. But anyway, does this look at all like a man who is intimidated? No, it looks like a man who's behaving like a petulant toddler throwing a temper tantrum. Yeah. It's like it's grumpy face. Grumpy face man. Oh, you get the grumpy little boy.
The return of Grumpy Cat.
You get the grumpy little Trumpy. It's Grumpy Trumpy.
Grumpy Trumpy.
It's Grumpy Trumpy.
No, God, we already have Matt Walsh plus. We don't need Grumpy Trumpy plushes. Oh, yeah, it's been pointed out E.E. Cummings used all lowercase, so he's not trying to be E.E. Cummings. No, he's trying to be the modern E.E. Cummings who uses capitalization on every line. God, after everything that's been said in this stream, I don't need the word Cummings to be uttered any more than it already has been.
Cummings.
Nope. We're done.
My favorite poet is E.E. Cummings. Next tweet.
No.
Tim Poole says, apparently they're mad at me for saying high-value men should shame sluts for being sluts. Why the fuck would I care what these sluts think?
I should note, apparently Brianna Wu is actually going to be hopping on Tim's show to discuss this with him. I cannot wait to see her eviscerate the fuck out of him.
I'm not sure who Brianna Wu is.
She was one of the targets of Gamergate. back in the day.
Okay.
Her husband is Frank Wu, who was one of the people who helped develop the COVID vaccine.
Okay. But yeah, no, like I don't understand slut shaming. Like, I don't know. I don't know my partner's current body count, nor do I care. She's with me now. What do I care who she was with before? That was before.
Me and Saki actually had a joke about like our past body counts, and it's just it doesn't matter. You're in a relationship with somebody now. All that means is that they have a bunch of experience now that they can use to please you better.
Higher body count means you're better at doing me.
So Jessa says, what about her KDR? Oh yeah, you're right. It's not just the body count that matters. We also need to know how many assists she got and how many times she died. Otherwise, we won't have a real. Otherwise, we won't have a real metric.
My partner's in the chat saying for sex or murder. Lots of stuff coming out on the stream.
Let's God damn it, stop saying
coming. Lots of stuff coming out on the stream.
Man, there's some it's weird when you ask that question and some people are like, but wait a minute, what about when it's both? Oh God, no, they're actually asking.
Everybody
both
in my chat is saying both. Like we've got Stratahawk saying both, we've got Lord of Uskalak saying both, we've got Less Than Lucid saying both. And then we've got some Brenna saying definitely murder.
That's when somebody that's when they answer, so I think the body count for sex was 10 and murder was 5, so 13. Wait, that math doesn't add up. Why doesn't that math add up? Explain. Well, some were both.
Body count's just a stupid concept. It's just stupid.
I think it should just be a bragging right. Just
like
across genders.
The only concern I would have is there an STI? So you get a blood test. And hey, blood test came back clean. Great, no STIs. Who cares about the rest?
I mean, hell, like literally a week before Saki came down from Alaska for the first time, we both got STD and STI tests. Just to be safe. This is what you do when you're an adult.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Doctors are super not judgmental about that. They'll just be like, okay, we'll order you the blood test.
Yep.
Then you go for the blood test. And they're also super not judgmental about it. They'll be like, okay, give me your arm. I'll take your blood.
Or in the case of how it was for me, they just did all at once and then sent it off to a third party to do the blood tests.
Sure. I don't know. It might be different there. Like my doctor has to fill out the requisition, and then there's a blood clinic in the basement of the building that she's in. So I could have just gone down there, but I ended up going to the clinic in the same town that I'm in.
Oh, I just went to Walgreens.
But like, they draw your blood at Walgreens?
Yeah.
That sounds strange to me.
So
we have actual clinics that draw blood. We don't go to the grocery store to have people take your blood.
Well, so we have a thing in Kroger's and in Walgreens that's just called a minute clinic. It's a little place you can go to that's just it's small, 1 or 2 doctors on staff, that's about it, or 1 or 2 nurses on staff, that's about it. And it's just for like it's the same thing as, you know, just going in for any other checkup. It's mild.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, Tim Pool spends way too much time thinking about other penises that have been in the same place as his penis. Sucks to be him.
You think he just fantasizes about it?
Maybe. Yeah, because a lot of times the people who obsess over it are actually fantasizing about it. So yeah, that's a very potential thing.
Haha, dimful.
Frank Turek says, I'm anti this and anti that because I'm anti things that are sinful and that are wrong. And if you're not anti those things, you're not loving.
Okay. Cool flex, I guess. Like, I don't... Maybe he should actually say what anti this and anti that are.
Anti-human rights is what anti this and anti that are.
That's like, this is why I think that people like Frank should be a little more brave and a little more specific.
Yeah. Well, he's anti-human rights. Now, like, he will phrase it in terms of trans rights or gay rights, and like those don't count as human rights. But like, no, they are humans. They deserve rights.
But I don't. Why do they deserve more rights than I have?
They don't. They get the same rights.
It is equally illegal for a rich man and a poor man to sleep under this bridge.
Yeah, but the rich man is going to have an easier time in court over it, and will get off easier than the poor man.
Well,
so yeah, no, it's not actually equally.
It's
not actually equally illegal. If a rich man decides to sleep under a bridge, he's going to get a slap on the wrist. If a poor man sleeps under the bridge, he gets thrown into prison.
I mean, the actual point of the analogy is that the rich man probably is never going to be forced to sleep under the bridge. The poor man may be forced to sleep under the bridge.
Well, yeah, that makes it worse. The poor man sleeps under the bridge out of necessity and then gets punished for it. The rich man, if he chooses to sleep under the bridge, will get a slap on the wrist.
Which is why when somebody tries to go, oh, well, if we ban, we should ban gender affirming care for both cis and trans people. I'm like, well, it's more likely the trans people will need it. So we'll just, it's all equal. But they get fucked more, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay. Oh, we're back to the priest.
That's the end of the tweets for the night. So yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for joining us. I really gotta pee. This I won't be using
Have you tried sneezing?
I will probably not be using this avatar next week. I don't know. This was kind of fun, though.
Stop doing the eye go.
Ah! We need
Jesus
a supercut
Christ.
of all the times I've used the surprise button.
Yeah, it was a surprise, all right.
Surprise! There's white stuff all over my face now. Okay.
Did you know that in terms of male-female human compatibility?
As always, fuck off.